Nintendo started their E3 Nintendo Direct pretty strong, without any sort of talking or anything. They just immediately jumped into a trailer. The trailer was for a mech game. They showed using this mech and destroying a bunch of other giant mechs. Graphics looked pretty good, and the game looks interesting. They didn't really give us much of a setting for it, so I don't know what the game was about. But the name of the game was Daemon X Machina, so good pun there. I can appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about the game. After that, they talked about some Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC, Corna, the Golden Country, which appears to be a story DLC that will have more content for everybody who's already beaten the game or is just interested in checking out an additional side storyline. After that, they talked briefly about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. They didn't say a whole lot about those games because they already talked about them an awful lot during the Pokemon event. And then they mentioned that every Pokeball Plus controller will come with a Mew inside it. So when you buy the Pokeball Plus, you're buying a Mew in addition to a controller, making Mew essentially a $50 DLC Pokemon you can get, which, I think, in all honesty, is basically just going to make those controllers really hard to find because everybody always wants to get Mew, and it's not very often you get an opportunity to get Mew, so I suspect that scalpers are going to be buying as many of those Pokeball Pluses as they can. And there's a good chance that Nintendo won't be able to keep up with the demand, especially here in the United States where we have a problem with scalpers. After they talked about that, they showed a trailer with some gameplay footage of Super Mario Party, which looks pretty good. It's got a lot of interesting mini games in it, so that looks great. They didn't cover it a whole lot. I would have preferred if they'd spent some more time talking about it, particularly if they had mentioned how many mini games it had and stuff like that. That would be good, but they didn't really focus on it. It was just a trailer and then they were done with it. After that, they went on to have a trailer for Fire Emblem, which I was kind of looking forward to hearing some more about Fire Emblem for the Switch, and it was good to see a trailer for it and get to see some gameplay incorporated into the trailer, but they didn't show a logo or anything or show a release date, so I don't know when it's coming out and I don't know the name of the game. So not a whole lot of new information. It looks like a good game, but basically all Fire Emblem games are good games. So that's not a whole lot of new information to go off of. Though it does look like you can advise characters how to train their proficiencies with certain weapons, which is interesting. After that, they did a couple of just really brief talks about Overcooked 2, which appears to be a cooking puzzle game type thing. Killer Queen Black, which appears to be some sort of insect sport gladiatorial combat arena thing where you got a bunch of different ways to win, like collecting berries or, killing the opposing team's queen 3 times. So that's interesting. They didn't go into a whole lot of detail on it. And then afterwards they talked about the Hollow Knight port for Switch that comes with all of the past DLC, and basically that it's available now. After that, they talked about Octopath Travelers getting a new demo. The new demo is coming out on June 14th, and this demo will let you carry over your progress from the demo to the main game when the main game comes out. So if you want to play Octopath Traveler and you don't want to wait a month for the game to come out, you can get the demo now, see if you like the game, and if you do like the game, just play the demo, and then when the game comes out, transfer your progress over to the main game, which is great. I love it when games do this, because it's really cool to be able to play the game and make an informed decision as to whether or not you like it and whether or not you want to buy it. And it's great to be able to carry your progress over so you don't have to replay the tutorial section and all that stuff all over again when you get the game. And then after that, there was a montage of a bunch of video games that they just kind of glazed over and didn't really talk about. And it might have been a good idea to talk about those games because, as I said in my Microsoft conference video, I don't consider 2 to 5 seconds of footage with no commentary to be bringing a game to E3. And the omission of these titles means Nintendo didn't bring that many games. After that montage video, basically the entire rest of the Direct was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And the main reveal that they did was the roster for the game. They revealed that every fighter who's ever been in any Smash game is coming back to this version of Smash. That includes Young Link, who had previously been replaced with Toon Link, Pichu, Snake, just everyone. Everyone's back. And then they went on to mention that the GameCube controllers are going to work with this version of Smash, which I would sure hope so. GameCube controllers kind of really need to work with Smash. So that wasn't super surprising. Everybody kind of of expected that announcement, but hopefully that means a new batch of GameCube controllers will be coming out and it will be easy to acquire a GameCube controller again, because otherwise, like, mine died recently, so I don't have any way to use a GameCube controller unless they sell me a new one. Then Inklings were confirmed as roster number 64, and at the end of the Direct, they revealed that Ridley has mastered the art of crouching and was able to sneak under the 2-2-all for smash limit that had previously been keeping him out, making him roster number 65. And he appears to have a taunt where he can stand up to reveal his height, which is so tall that, like, if you're standing next to a drop-through platform, like, his torso will be above the platform just because he's so much bigger than everyone else. So that's cool. The clone characters appear to have been legitimized with reworks, or are now considered to be Echo Fighters. The Echo Fighters share a roster number with the character they're based on, but have an epsilon sign. So I'm hoping that means that every fighter will get an Echo Fighter. That said, if they introduce no new characters and just add Echo Fighters for the current roster, that would bring the total roster size to 130 characters. So that isn't an entirely realistic hope, but it would be cool. We were told not to expect too many newcomers because the focus was getting all of the old characters back, but I'm personally hoping for 5 new characters to bring the roster from 65 to 70, namely Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie, Rayman, Sora, and Master Chief. As I feel that Nintendo already has a strong presence on the roster and would like to see more guest characters. The 5 I mentioned being some of the biggest names in gaming, so they'd be great additions. I very much doubt we will get them, but they would be my top picks if it was up to me. Daisy has been confirmed to now be an Echo Fighter for Peach, so you don't have to use the Daisy alt color scheme for Peach anymore. You can just play as Daisy. And the starting roster might be as small as the original N64 roster, and you'll have to unlock all of the other characters. I'm hoping that they don't reveal all of the characters before the game comes out. I would like there to be a lot of hidden characters when the game comes out, and it just be up to me whether or not I want to go online and look up tutorials on how to unlock characters. Because, like, when I played the original N64 game, the internet wasn't, like, so much of a thing back then, because dial-up internet was slow and sucked. So nobody wanted to use it for anything. So when I was unlocking characters, I didn't know how many characters there were. I just was unlocking them. And they would get added to my roster and it'd be cool. And then, like, in Melee, you're like, oh, I've got all the characters. And then you get Marth and it just adds an extra slot to your roster. And you're like, well, who knows how many characters there are? I don't. And it was a lot of fun to just be playing the game and randomly encounter a character and then be all like, all right, now I'm going to fight this character and maybe unlock them. So I would kind of like to see something like that again. That would be cool. I feel like if they announce all the characters before the game comes out, then a lot of the surprise of hidden characters is completely ruined because they're not hidden. They're just unlockable characters. It's just a task to do. I have to figure out how to unlock them so I can play them. But if they're hidden characters, then it's like I have to find them all, which is a lot more interesting in my opinion. Then they said that many of the old stages have been updated with new graphics and are being brought back. They confirmed the Donkey Kong stage from Melee and Big Blue, so, like, that's cool. I love Big Blue, so I'm really happy it's back in the game. I hope we get Pokey Floats back. That stage was amazing. And then it was also revealed that you pick the stage before you pick the characters. So now you don't have to worry about picking a character and then your friend picking a stage that was just really bad for your character. Such as Pokey Floats. You can just know going in, oh yeah, my friend is playing Pokey Floats. Let's not pick a character like Little Mac. So that would be cool. I would like to see some of those more dangerous stages make a return, and I'd like hidden characters to make a return. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the main stuff they covered in the Smash Direct. There's a whole lot of extra information about Smash Bros. They went over, such as like how different characters have been changed, but I don't feel like covering all of that because that would take a long time to do. But it might be worth watching the original if you're interested in that sort of thing, or just waiting a little bit longer, and I'm sure that, like, the meta will evolve and keep track of all the changes by itself anyway. So I don't feel like it's entirely worth digging in too much about how the game has changed when the game is in development and everything is subject to change. So I'm not going to go over that a whole much. Though they did change a lot of the final smashes so that they don't take as long. So that's cool. You won't have to run from the Landmaster forever because the Landmaster just won't show up. And that was it for the Nintendo E3 Direct. It was either really, really good if what you wanted to see was Smash Bros, or really, really bad if you were hoping for anything other than Smash Bros, because Smash Bros is pretty much the only thing they really talked about. There were a couple of games, namely Daemon X Machina and Super Mario Party, that were showcased in any sort of like in-depth look with their trailers, but nothing besides Smash Bros actually got talked about really at all. It was just, here's this stuff, and then Smash Bros. So, it was either really good if you were looking forward to Smash Bros and didn't care about anything else, or it was terrible if you were looking forward to finding out some more stuff and were hoping for like Metroid Prime 4 or something like that. None of those showed up. But it's worth noting that Nintendo has Nintendo Directs several times a year, so it's not such a big deal that they didn't bring those titles to E3. They can talk about them anytime they want. And that is it for the Nintendo E3 Direct.